In the last video, we created the views for product fields, which is a layout for the new.html.erb, which is the function that we wrote in the last video for org products controller. Now, in this video, what I want us to do is I want us to go to routes.rb, and I want you to add in resources org products because we need that in order to make these functions in org products controller work. Let's close this off because we don't really need that right now. But what I want you to do next is I want you to go to your sidebar because now we have a link or a path to this post items for sale. Now, I want you to type in new org product path, but because having that resources in our routes will allow us to get to that path. But what we have to do first is we have to restart our server just to make sure it recognizes that we've changed our routes. So after restarting that and changing our sidebar, we should be able to get to our new function. So let's go here and refresh this page. And if I hover over the post items for sale, you can see that the link is now localhost 3000 org products new in the bottom of my browser. And if I click that, then there is an undefined local variable or method signed in user. And the reason for that is because we haven't defined that yet in our application. So let's go ahead and do that. So I want you to type in private, and inside this private we're going to have several things. First off is our signed in user, and I've talked about it in my previous video, so I'm not going to talk about it here. Pretty much checks whether you're signed in or not. So I'm going to put that in there and save it. And I'm also going to put our product params, and this is our strong parameters. And again, I've talked about this in our previous video, so I'm not going to go over it again, but it's really going to define what variables is permitted inside our our app or when we post a product. Now, I'm going to define something else called user has role in company. And I believe this is something that we've also come across. User has role in company. And if I check org company or company's controller, then going to the bottom, you can see that the user has role in company. So it's pretty much the same function of checking that our person needs to be approved in order to see these pages. One other thing that I want us to add is our registered company definition, because this will allow us to check if the user is associated with the company. And we only ever need this for a user to post products, and this is where this comes up. So if we refresh and we don't have that function, it'll complain again. So why don't we define that? This is something new, and I haven't gone through this in my previous videos, so let's take some time and code this out. So we're going to create a company contact variable, and it's going to be quite long. So our company contact variable would take org contacts and join it with org company, where the email is equal to the current person's email and the person ID is equal to this person's ID, and the org company ID is equal to this person's org company ID. So what we really need here is we need a person with a valid email. So our signed in user must have a valid email, a valid ID, and they must have a company ID as well. So this join will make sure that our contact information, if I was the user, make sure my contact information matches the information that is on org company. So what we're doing here, if we look over here in our database, is we're looking for this person. So let's see, which one of us are we talking about? So let's use him. the first row. So we're looking for a person that has our email. So our email is dd1234, and we have an org person ID, and we have a org company ID, and we're only joining by where org company ID is equal to the org company ID in our org companies table. So that's kind of the idea of a join. And if you don't really know MySQL, then I really suggest that you go ahead and read up a little bit on joins on MySQL to really clear up how I actually get the right get the right information here, or get the right company contact information. So if we come up with nothing, then clearly there is no user. I'm not attached to this company, because if the company is not 3 but 4, then I will get an empty result, right? So the join by org company ID, where the org company ID matches on the org company table against the org contacts table, um, for the user's org company ID. If if the join fails and it came up with an empty result, then I'll redirect you to your edit org person path, and we're gonna use your own ID, and we're just gonna flash a message saying that, okay, you really need to register with a company first. So we're going to make a flash message to tell you to register with a company first. So that's register company. And lastly, we're going to have another product param sanitizer. And this is pretty much the same thing as our country and region sanitizer that I talked about in one of our previous videos. So I'm not really going to go through that here. So that would be that. Now, to use those functions, what I need to do is I need to do a before action. So signed in user, and I'm also going to tack on user has role and company to this function, because it's going to really, these two functions are really going to affect the same functions. So I'm going to use that on a lot of stuff actually. So I'm just going to copy from my notes. So we're going to use that on index, new, create, edit, update, delete, orders, and complete orders. Don't really worry about the orders and complete orders yet. We're going to talk about that in future videos. But for these functions, from all the CRUD functions, really we're only going to allow a user to look at this if he has a role in the company and if he's a signed in user. Otherwise, he won't be able to see it. And we're going to do a before action on a registered company as well, and this is only going to include the CRUD functions. Same functions as here, but we're not going to include orders and completed orders. That is why we can't tack this onto the first before action. So let's go back over to our new and refresh it, see what comes up. Right. So now we need to talk about our tax details. And I'm just going to define that here, and we'll talk about that in the next video, because I feel like it's been a long video already. So we'll just define that there, and we'll talk about it in the next video. Please rate, comment, subscribe if you really enjoy these videos. It really helps motivates me. Other than that, leave comments and questions in the comment box as usual, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. Thanks for watching.